Good evening and welcome. I'm Hailey Coxon and this is the Spirit of Motorsport TV. Well, tonight we introduce the first episode of Share Your Story. So if you haven't joined our group already, this is live streaming through our Share Your Stories group. But if you're on any of our other pages or our groups, please make sure you head on over there and join the group so you can share your stories. There's an opportunity for you to connect with like-minded petrol heads. You can share your pictures, your videos. And yeah, we love hearing from every single one of you that join that group. Now, this evening, what we've done is we put the opportunity out there to some of our followers to jump on a live with me and share their stories. So we've invited two of our followers this evening who have got quite the story to tell, not the story, multiple stories over their decades involved in motorsport, and possibly a little bit of banter as well this evening. So make sure that you comment, you send your questions over, get involved in the chat. Why not? It's live. So let us know where you are, where you're jumping on from, and send us your questions. So we're going to be sharing some pictures, some stories. Grab yourself a beer or whatever you want to join you as you chill and join in the conversation. So without further ado, I am going to invite the wonderful Mr. Ed Taylor and Mr. Martin Angeloni. Am I pronouncing that right? Good evening, boys. How are we?
Good evening.
Good evening, Hailey. All right. How are you, Martin?
Good evening, Ed. Very well, thanks. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah, good.
Now, boys, thanks so much. Yeah, you're looking good. Thanks for accepting our invitation. We've had so many great stories on the group. And Martin, you were the first out of the two of you to join, and you invited Ed. You said you have to connect, you have to hear some of his stories. And I'm so glad that you connected us because, Ed, you've got a great YouTube channel where you said you really wanted to write a book, but yeah. I can totally relate where writing a book would bore you. I can relate to that. So you decided to do it in a video form. So you've got 20 plus episodes of sharing your story over the decades of working in motorsport. So that channel's fantastic. Have you been having fun shooting it?
Yeah, it's as I said to you when we were prepping this, loads of people over the years have said, "Oh, Ed, because you dine out on these stories for the rest of your life with some of the things we've done." But everybody said, "Yeah, you should be writing a book about all of this." So I did start putting it down on paper, a few notes and what have you, and then I started writing it down on my PC. And I think I did about half a chapter and then parked it. And I just thought, I'm just bored with this. So I just come up with the idea of thinking, okay, well, I've got all the notes. I'll just start chatting about it. And it's quite easy to, well, as I say, a lot of this is a long time ago. But once you start chatting about it, it's quite easy how all the stuff starts to flow through. And I've done up to now sort of 26 episodes with a bit of me music stuff. And I've probably got about another 25, 30 to go. But I sort of, I took it up to, I think we're up to about 1989 now at the moment. And as I say, you've probably got a lot of younger viewers and that think, what the hell's he on about, with some of the stuff. And maybe a lot of people won't be able to relate to some of it because what we sort of are chatting about just wouldn't be allowed anymore.
What you used to get up with.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had so much fun. We just had so much fun. And I mean, I will, not without hogging it off Martin and that, but I'll just sort of say that, I spent over 20 odd years in motorsport, but it was something that I didn't really want to do. I know where Martin started off, as most sort of good mechanics do, who have been in the game a long time. He sort of started off in Formula Ford and then moved up to different things. And we briefly had a a little foray into Formula One. But I actually started in Formula One and moved down. So I went the opposite way. But I'd also turned down a job in Formula One 3 times before I thought, well, it's better than messing about doing anything else. So I might as well go and do it. And I stuck it out for a while. But there you go. So, Martin.
So let us know a little bit more about your YouTube channel, Ed. So it's the pet shop.
The pet shop boys. No. No, what it is, I mean, everybody. I know. I mean, everybody in motor racing has got a nickname, and mine's always been Rocksteady. Most of that's come from my drum inside of it, Rocksteady. So, and I started off all the rock and roll in Formula One as well with a band called the Pit Stop Boogie Boys, which involved a lot of people from the paddock, but I suppose most notably Eddie Jordan. And I sort of, I've carried that on for many, many years. But we started off, as I say, with a YouTube channel. If anybody wants to see it, it is, Rocksteady, the Pit Stop Boogie Boy. And it starts off really from some of my music escapades back in the sort of mid-80s until how I got into Formula One through that, actually. So, but yeah, it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify. So if you don't want to look at my ugly face, you can go on Spotify and just listen to it. They're all 10 or 12 minutes of nonsense. There you go. There it is. So yeah, there's a lot of fun in there. There's a lot of irreverence. Nobody gets hurt in it. That's the main thing. And yeah, I hope people sort of have a look at it and have a smile about it anyway.
We've got a comment here from Darren Tabra, says hi to everybody. Hello, Darren. So anybody that's tuning in, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Tag your friends, get them involved in the chat. Share your stories with us as well. We'd really appreciate to hear from you. So boys, okay, Martin then. So tell me a little bit how you guys connected and how you boys know each other.
Well, it's the same thing. I started in motor racing in the early 70s. Yeah, about then. And it just developed through the Formula Ford, etc., etc. And we actually bumped into each other in 87, wasn't it, Ed? 87. Yeah, there was a new F1 project going on, and we met up. There was quite a few. I think there was about 10 of us in the team, wasn't it? 10 of us in the team.
Yeah.
Running 2 cars, and that's how it was. It all went politically F1 wrong, and but we kept in touch, and we worked together again a couple of years later, didn't we? In the
we did
3000 series, which was the stepping stone for Formula One, really. That was good.
Well, you had a lot of experience in Formula 3000, didn't you, Mart? And it was
yeah. From it started in 85, but I stepped in with 86 when we was playing with this young lad called Mark Blundell. We used him in Formula Ford, and then the same team stepped up into Formula 3000, and the 3 of us was running him for a season, and yeah, it was quite successful. Good lad in the head.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, I've kept in touch with Mark over the years. Obviously worked with him at Nissan in Group C, and then at Brabham as well, which was his first year in F1.
Yeah,
and of course he's gone on to have a fabulous career, and the rest of us have sunk without trace.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them done that. There's a lot of good people out there who don't get the chance of stepping up and doing the job.
That's right.
There are some very good club races out there.
Yeah.
And it is a shame.
The great thing with Mark is he obviously made his impact on the track, but he's mentoring so many great talents now as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Carving that path for the new talent to come through, and it's
which is good.
It's really important.
Well, he's putting something. Well, he's putting not something back into the sport. He's putting a lot back into the sport, and I think there's a lot of drivers that have sort of, they've made their few quid out of it, and then they've gone off to play with the toys for the rest of their life.
No, that's right. But there's a lot of drivers who've lost a few quid out of it.
Well, absolutely. As the old saying goes, if you want to make a small fortune out of motor racing, start with a big one.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
So, boys, you've got a lot. Yeah. Go for it, Ed.
No, what I was going to say with, first meeting Martin, really, I think we probably went down the same route. Was if you didn't know somebody in the paddock to get you a job or whatever, but a lot of it was word of mouth. But you essentially every Thursday you went down the newsagent and bought Autosport.
Oh yes,
and
back pages.
And back pages. That you never looked at anything else. You looked at what the jobs were in the back pages, and we'd obviously looked at the same edition, and it was a Middlebridge Racing who were looking for guys to run a Formula One team. And so we both ended up at the same team in Bicester. And as Martin said, I think there were 10 of us, and that was it. I mean, you've got more than 10 now carrying Lewis Hamilton's bag. You know what I mean? But we'd run whole teams on that sort of stuff. And there was some very good and clever guys among them. So but yeah.
Great, but you got some dirt on each other. No.
We got some dirt on each other.
On each other. Yeah.
Probably not too much actually, but
not too bad. We got up to a few things in the 3000 era, but nothing serious,
No, well,
Shall we move on?
There is one funny story I thought was quite good. We used to have this minibus at Bromley Motorsport. And we used to go to the circuits, Europe or Britain, in this minibus. And Tony always wanted to drive it. Fine, one of the other lads. But the team boss, Ron Salt, bless him, always had to sit in the front seat. And, of course, it was his pride and joy. And wherever we went, he was always leaning over, having a look at the speed. He couldn't see a thing. He was blind as a bat. We just kept leaning over and, just nudge it, keep it at 70. And when you go into Spa or Dijon or something, 70 mile an hour is just dreadful. So when we got there, Tony, being the bloke he did, he got a sticker off the Avon truck, the white round of the O on the Avon, and he drew a speedo on it, and he put the needle at 70, stuck it over the original. So Ron sitting in the front on the way back just kept leaning over 70. He says you could see the clock at the bottom right about 110. That was naughty but funny at the time. It was good.
I know. Well, I'll just relate one quick story about Martin's just mentioned Dijon. I mean, I was the truckie on the team, so I set off with the car, and I think we were running a French lad called David Villet for that race, and I got to the circuit and I was waiting for these larrikins to turn up with a minibus so that I could put the awning up, because it was a 40-foot awning, which, usually takes a few blokes. But anyway, I started to put this awning up on my own, and I was having a right game with it. Because, I mean, for one thing, I'm only a short bloke, and I was sort of thought, well, I'll get a part of it up and the guys will turn up in the minibus and they'll be there to help me out and everything. But these monkeys turned up about 3 hours later, and the people in the paddock were coming over and having a look, saying, "Oh, how are you getting on with Ed? Where's your chaps?" I said, "They're on the way and they're going to cop it when they get here." So anyway,
making me feel guilty. I
am going to make you feel guilty. I'm doing it online. And this lot turned up probably about 4 or 5 hours later. I don't know what the excuse was. Oh, we missed the ferry, or the ferry was late, or something like that. But I think the only sober one out of them was the one driving the bus, and that was he weren't probably that sober. But they all piled out. The side doors slid on this minibus, and these these guys just tumbled out of it, and they come over and had a look, and they says, "Bloody hell, Ed, you've done a good job on that awning. You know, it's up. Come on, zip it up, and we'll go back to the hotel now." But you know, there's
I don't think I was there that weekend, Ed.
No, of course not. No, there's a million tales like that, and that's what it was. It's as I say, I mean, the anybody who's watching, sort of like the racing aficionados and the people who actually like all the technical side of it, don't bother listening to me. Yeah. Because I was there. You can see. So
this is a great picture, Ed. Tell me a bit about this, because you both sent. Because I asked if you both.
Well, I just think it's a very.
You both sent the same one.
It's just funny. It just typifies the Formula One time of the late 80s, early 90s. But I'll let Ed carry on with that one.
Yeah, well, that one was actually on the grid in Adelaide in 1988. With Leighton House, we'd had a fantastic season, because that was the year in 88 where McLaren won 15 out of the 16 races. And it was either Senna or Prost, or, you know, they were just cleaning up all the time. And you know, they were running Honda turbo cars, and we'd got our Leighton House, Adrian Newey designed car. I think we scored about 21, 22 points that season. And the race before this one in Adelaide, we were in Japan, and we actually led that race just for a very, very short time. And then, you know, Capelli, there was an electrical problem or whatever, but we got the car back to the garage and the damn thing fired up straight away. And my take on it was always that Honda had jammed our telemetry because they didn't want to be seen to be losing out at their home Grand Prix to a normally aspirated car. But no, from Japan we went on to Adelaide, which was always the last race of the season and always the best time you could ever have. And that picture just epitomizes what we were as a team, and what we were allowed to get away with. And if we were allowed to get away with it, well, the likes of me would push it. And you know, but we'd got a team boss in Ian Phillips, who was one of the boys. We'd got a driver like Ivan Capelli, who was again one of the boys. The whole thing was a lot smaller, a lot closer, and a lot more friendly than I think it is now, because I think, you know, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of money involved in it when we were doing it, but there's silly money involved in it now, and it's all corporate and things like this, things like that picture now, you probably get the sack for it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, but as I say, I was always happy to sort of, you know, try and put a smile on people's faces. That was the main thing. So.
Yeah, but that picture wasn't only you, Ed, was it? There was, you know, there is another couple of pictures of it somewhere with the whole team in some sort of garb and.
Yeah. I mean, we all had a go at it, you know. But as I say, I sort of, you know, I'd always push the envelope a little bit further, you know. You know, which cost me at certain times, you know. But the fact that 30 odd years later we're still sat here talking about them means that it was fun. It was of its day, you know, and nobody will ever take the experience away, and that was fabulous. And we, you know, we worked hard, we played hard, we did a lot of hours, and you know,
one of the things, Ed. Sorry, one of the things in them used to work well. If you were still there at midnight, changing engines or whatever it was, you was there till midnight. But what is it these days? I think it's curfew at 6 o'clock.
10 o'clock curfew, I think.
Is that what it is? I don't
know. It's called the Afraid of the Dark Club. No, I'm sure. But the thing is as well, I mean, I think what a lot of the the younger people won't really appreciate it is that, you know, we used to work all-nighters. And I mean, I remember one race in Monaco in 89. I mean, we did 3 all-nighters there. And then we did an all-nighter out on the booze as well. So none of us got any damn sleep at that race. And again, it's just what you did. But
yeah,
I think as well, because we were running such tight crews, we all had to sort of muck in and do, you know, we had to multitask on different jobs. And it was, what can I say? I think these days, not to disparage anybody that's sort of working in Formula One now, because it's still an incredibly, it's got so much more technical now. But we had a lot of guys. Anybody who worked on a race car could work on any part of that race car, and if it needed a part making for it, they'd go in the back of the truck, and they'd get a hammer and a piece of metal or some carbon, and they would make something for it and make that car work. Now they've got, you know, it's a completely different sort of thing.
Well, it's sign of the times, Ed, really. It's just evolution. You know,
I mean, somebody like Martin, you see, I mean, Martin would run a Formula One car, albeit not with all the electronics and all the tricks that they've got on it now. But Martin could run a Formula One car on his own, and has done.
Well, yeah.
There he is.
Well, there you go. Is that Hubertus Balson?
They were so simple. You know, there was 3 buttons. Fuel pump, ignition, off you go and drive it. Manual gearbox, easy to run engine. Yeah, it's fine. You know, that's good old Giovanna. Bless him.
Oh yeah, she's got the same hair as you, Hailey. Yeah. Well, she was. Yeah, I mean,
a young lady.
Yeah, well, she was the last. She was the last girl in Formula One, wasn't she?
The last female to try and qualify for a Grand Prix. Yeah, must be.
Absolutely.
What year was this?
That was 92-ish.
92.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in the Brabham. Brabham Judd, I think.
Was it?
No, it was a bad car. I mean, I think she tried to qualify it. So I remember the first race in South Africa at Kyle Army. She didn't qualify it there, and I think she had another couple of goes, and I think that was it. And I think so. I think Damon Hill came into the car after that,
I think he struggled as well, didn't he?
He couldn't make it work. It was a bad one. So, but that's what happens. But there's obviously a huge push now to get. To get some girls back into it. And I know they've got, is it Formula W or Formula Woman?
Formula Women. Yeah,
Formula Women, yeah. I'm not sure whether that's sort of, it'd be nice to see a girl get into Formula One proper. I think the cars are easier to drive now than they used to be.
Yeah,
and I think it's probably easier for a girl to be able to compete with the fellas now, and I think ironically, one of the girls who probably really upped the profile of female drivers was that accident that Sophia Flörsch had at Macau a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
because she was so lucky to come out of that. And she's worked hard to come back from a bad accident like that.
Yeah.
And she's doing really well. I know she's she drove Le Mans last year and what have you, didn't she? She's
she did.
Yeah. So I'm sure at some stage, a girl will come through and get driving in a Formula One car.
Yeah. Well, the Americans took them by Patrick and Catholic.
Catholic,
cars, isn't it? So there is a capability there.
That's right. But it's again, a lot of it is down to the money, though.
Yeah, sponsorship, isn't it? And
it is, yeah. I mean, you'd rather see sort of a girl getting a team like Haas or something like that than one or two of the drivers they've had in there. So, but we'll leave that one alone.
Can we go on to more pictures?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
What we got?
So we've got a few more here, boys. So this is a mega one. So you just
it is.
Earlier, so tell us a bit about this, Ed.
Yeah, that picture's actually at Dijon. Obviously, I mean, worked with Mark really on that car in the Group C season in 1990, and it was in that car that Mark he got the lap record, well, the pole position at Le Mans by about 6 seconds. We got one hell of an engine in that car.
So there's another story behind that somewhere, isn't there, Ed?
Which one?
About
which one?
Lap
About the what?
I thought there was another story behind the qualifying lap. Didn't it say, take your time or something? I'm going for this, and just nailed it.
Yeah, he just nailed it, and I think he just basically strapped himself in and just,
just lit the
and
fuse and off he went.
Hung on to it. Yeah.
There is an onboard, isn't there, Ed? There is an onboard.
Oh yeah, there is an onboard of that lap in on YouTube, and if anybody wants to have a look at that, you can see the brute force of cars of that era. Whereas now, when you watch something on YouTube of another, a lap in a Formula One car or a sports car, it's like watching something on a computer game. But these drivers back then, they really had to hang on to those cars. But yeah, as I say, I did that season with Nissan, and we had a great time. I mean, we had. I think we were running the two cars. There was Mark Blundell, Julian Bailey, Brancatelli in the one car, and we got Kenny Aitchison. Who else did we have? I can't remember in the other car. But strangely enough, with Kenny Aitchison, we were at Le Mans, and of course, Mark had got pole with that car, and our other car actually broke down on the warm-up lap of a 24-hour race, and I think what happened was we'd had to sort of we'd had to do something with the gearbox, and it's highly possible that somebody didn't put the gearbox oil back into the car. And anyway, there was
extra weight, Ed.
I know. Well, they set off on the formation lap, and of course, these things are going to last for 24 hours. And we heard on the headphones Kenny Aitchison coming around. He's saying, "I've got no drive." And we says, "What?" And he says that, pit wall said, "Try and get it into the pit lane. And if we need to, we'll change the gearbox." Anyway, he stopped about 20 yards away from the white line of the entrance to the pit lane at Le Mans. Oh. And consequently, the car stopped. Because he wasn't actually in the pit lane, we could see him there. We weren't allowed to come and pull the car up because a driver had got to either push the car or repair the car or do what he got to do under his own steam. And the language that came over our headsets was immense, because it was a hell of a lot went into that week. It's a big thing. And with Nissan, we'd got 2 European cars, we'd got 2 Japanese cars and an American car, or 2 American cars and a Japanese car. I can't remember now, but it was a 5-car effort. And, we got about 200 Japanese Nissan people there. And then with the one car on pole and then the other one not even taking the start of the race. So
well, disappointing if any. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. But that's as the old phrase goes, that's motor racing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not sure the gearbox man lasted much longer. But...
We're going to have another photo, boys. We're just going to do one more, I believe. Here we are. So tell us the story.
Well, that's the very same race. That's at Le Mans, and that is you can see all the absolutely outrageous team gear that we had. But the one thing, if we were going to look stupid, at least we all look stupid. But it was my idea, because we've got those sort of French berets on, and so consequently, I got everybody to make these stick-on moustaches, and basically we were just doing something, taking the mickey out the French, really. we just needed some onions around our necks and that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean that gear was. Looking at it now, it was loud, wasn't it? It was really, the team that style forgot. But no, but you get noticed, and the thing was as well, I think some of that gear sold pretty well on eBay as well. So, but yeah, I mean, you see the two young ladies at the front. Those are in the days when we had hospitality girls and grid girls, and that's another thing that's gone. For the good, for the better, everybody's got their opinions on that, and we all understand that times move forward. But I was glad we did it then, and don't do it now. So, but yeah, that was. There's actually one guy on there now. He stood at the back in the middle, a lad called Christian de Groot, and I was chatting to him the other day on Facebook, and he's just done 540 consecutive Grand Prix. Wow. Working for he was at Benetton for a while back in the sort of early 90s, but he's worked for the FIA for the last at least 25 years. Yeah. So he's one of the scrutineering guys. He's one of the paddock policemen, shall we say? But Chris, he's I mean, 540 races on the spin.
Wow!
So that's a good number.
That's a fair old bit. That is,
especially if you're only saying there's 20 per year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you think? I mean, yeah. Again, when we were doing it, there were 16 races.
16. Yeah.
Yeah, but there were absolutely, you were always testing as well. I mean, again, for the younger viewers,
the test team.
Well, everybody had a test team. Some of the bigger guys had 2 or 3 test teams.
But didn't McLaren always have one in Japan or something? Yes,
they did. When they were with Honda, they had a test team in Japan all the time, and they'd got people like I think Pirro and maybe Alan McNish and people like that. I think Pirro did about 2 or 3, certainly a couple of seasons, just running the test car for Honda out in Japan. But then the likes of myself, I mean, like in 91 and 92, I was working for Yamaha, and that was a tough gig. That was really, because I was running the engine truck on my own, and it was race test, and I was out of the country for sort of 42 weeks a year. And in the end, that wore me down, and it's what I was saying before about how big the teams are now. Yeah. The teams now will fly, the truckies will drive the cars and all the equipment out there. Then that's the end of their job. They get flown home. then, you know, the garage technicians get flown out and to set everything up. Well, we had to do all of that. And it was, again, it was how it was. It was how it was. But
as Steve McQueen says, one of my favorite quotes, racing is life. Everything else is just waiting.
Exactly that. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I think it's a very, very similar analogy as well. Charlie Watts, who's the drummer from the Rolling Stones, he said, I've been 50 years with the Rolling Stones. He said, 5 years have been playing and 45 years have been hanging about.
So, fair enough.
Yeah, so it's it is. You've got to have an understanding family. You've got to sort of
tell us about it. Yeah.
Oh, I know. You know, but it does take a big.
It takes a big chunk of your life.
That was the word I was looking for. It does take a chunk of your life. Yeah.
Even the Formula Ford and the lower formulas. Yeah.
It's a lifestyle, isn't it? That's what you choose. You choose a lifestyle, and then have to live the lifestyle.
I was running this lad called Ross Hockenall in the junior categories, the Formula Ford Junior Series. Mark Blundell, Damon Hill, Johnny Herbert, and all that. They was all in it. We did 72 races that.
Oof, wow.
Yeah, that was a lot of work. Yeah.
Oh, he's frozen.
Has he gone?
Oh, the anticipation. Oh, no, there he is. He's back.
He's back.
We used to do 3 per weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your championship, the RAC series, or the champion of Mallory, Alton, Cadden, whatever it was. So we used to do them all. Yeah. And these boys, that's it. Just do. That's all they used to do. Just drive all the time. You know, you can understand why they did get good towards the end. You know, like say your Damon Hills, Johnny Herberts, etc. Mark Blundell's. There's loads.
Yeah. Well, Damon started on bikes, didn't he?
He did start on bikes. Yeah.
Yeah. He was more into bikes, and I don't know if he ever ran at the Isle of Man at all, Hailey. I'm not sure about that.
I don't think he did.
Probably not. But
no.
I think he was a clubby boy, wasn't he?
I tell you, his career started at the TT. It was Murray Walker.
I'm not sure.
Oh, Murray Walker did. Yeah.
And his dad.
That's right. Was it Graham? Wasn't it?
Graham Walker.
Yeah. Well, Murray's, what is he? He's 98, 99 now, Murray.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he still remembers the facts and the figures. It's just tremendous. His brain.
Absolutely. Fabulous guy. Yeah.
Well, listen, boys, thank you so much for your time. It's great to share more of your stories. And some of your pictures. So we look forward to checking in with you again soon. We just wanted to test this out, didn't we? And get this going, really get this ball going, and see where it takes us.
Start off, we could do with more doing this. You know, want to get some drivers on board and things like, or team managers. Listen to their intake of some of this stuff.
Well, the thing is about the community. It's about a community now, isn't it? You know, this is about us connecting. It's sharing our passions and our likes for the motorsport and for the lifestyle, really, and it's supporting each other in a time when we might not actually be able to connect as well as we used to be able to. So let's jump on and do this as often as we can. So, boys, thank you for your time and your pictures. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
No problem.
Thanks, Martin and Ed. Take care.
Thanks, Hailey. Cheers. Cheers, Martin. Ta-da, mate. Bye.
So thank you everyone for joining us, everybody that tuned in. We really appreciate it. Let us know what you thought. Now, it's really important for us to connect with our TSOM family. So the Spirit of Motorsport is very much about building our relationship with our followers so we can build the content that you want to see from us. And also, we want to hear your stories. So please do get involved and send us your feedback. What did you think about connecting tonight with Ed, with Martin, with the idea of you guys sharing your stories with us a little bit more and possibly jumping on a live with us sometime in the future. So let us know whether you enjoyed it, how we could improve it. And thank you so much, every one of you, for joining in. If you know anyone that's missed it, that probably will enjoy it, tag them in, share away. And yes, guys, we look forward to hearing from you very soon. Very soon. Get sharing your stories. I'm Hailey Coxon, and this is the Spirit of Motorsport TV, episode 1 of Share Your Stories.